Hi, here's my Monday morning inspiration on 2 inspired leadership superpowers, and they are empathy and appreciation. Now, I often take the time to reflect in order to do these videos and think, well, what's really struck me about the conversations I've been having in the last week? And these 2 things have really come to my consciousness in the last week. The empathy idea, or not idea, but the empathy concept came from a conversation I was having with a COO who wanted to have a difficult, potentially difficult conversation with somebody who reported to him about performance and where things were going and how things needed to change because of how their business had changed in the last year. But he was worried that their defensiveness might come up and it might be a tricky conversation. So I just said, why not just ask him how things have been for him in the last year. Just start off by saying, tell me, I'd love to hear. What have you been up against? What's been difficult for you? What, if you're honest, if you could be honest with me, what have you been struggling with for the last year? So he reported back afterwards and said, that's how I approached the conversation. He said it was just such a great conversation. He said, we just had such an honest conversation. I just listened, I took note, and I empathized. And then they moved into a kind of problem-solving conversation about how to make things better and how to start blossoming again. And he just said it was amazing. And it just really brought home to me the power of empathy, when we take the time not to make ourselves understood to start with, but to understand, that whole thing about, seek first to understand rather than be understood, and the power of empathy. And I just thought, wow, just to me another amazing example of the power of empathy. And secondly, the power of appreciation. This same COO was also talking about how, he realised that he hadn't always invested enough time in kind of just sitting down and talking to people and finding out how things were for them, and what they were doing well, what they were thinking and feeling, and how they were thinking and feeling about the company. And I just said, well, one of the things you could do is maybe just invest time in sitting down and telling people specifically what it is that you appreciate about them. And again, he started doing that, and he just said, people just respond so much to feeling appreciated. I came across a statistic that I put in my first book, In the Work We're Born to Do, and apparently by the time most of us have reached adulthood, we've experienced something like 8 times as many put downs and criticisms and judgments as we have kind of appreciations and validations. So I do believe that most people are kind of going around on an appreciation deficit, and when we do take the time to genuinely and sincerely appreciate them for things and find things that we can appreciate them for, I think it is like a superpower. People respond to it, they soften, they're grateful, they're willing as a result of it. And it's not about manipulation, it's just about kind of honouring people and valuing them and making them feel significant. So just a couple of thoughts with you about human superpowers as well as leadership superpowers. As always, I always love having conversations around this. This is my passion and my love. So if you'd like to have a conversation about your leadership style, drop me a line, nick@imnickwilliams.com, and we'll arrange to speak. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.